Hey, Kayla.
Hello.
Well, it's my clock says 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started and say welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you're here. We are thrilled to have our candidates with us, and we're thrilled to have all of our participants here. We have a full agenda this evening that we're going to try to go through in an hour. So I'm just going to do a quick shout out to our board members. Lori Walk, she was there. There's Lori. And Shayla Asensio is one of our new board members. And Jackie Brockington is another board member. So welcome. I wanted you all to meet them. I'm really happy that you're here. And I think I'd like to reward people for being on time. So I'm going to introduce our speaker here this evening. I first heard Anna Escamani at a Legal Women Voters statewide meeting. And I learned from her how to handle a media interview, which I had never done before as the president of the Legal Women Voters in Miami. And I heard this word that was like, wow, I didn't know that. And she said, you have to pivot, Susan, pivot. I was like, what? And that just stuck with me. And I know that's a silly thing, but I learned very quickly because it was a very hot summer that summer. There was a lot going on in Miami and there were a lot of interviews, and I would have an image of Anna in my head of how to handle myself. So that was how I first met Anna, but we know her in many, many more ways. She's become quite our own local rock star. She flipped a seat in 2018 with 11,000 votes. And most recently, I think it's pretty amazing that Emily's List has recognized her, and she was nominated for the Gabby Giffords Rising Star Award. So she is our own local star. We all know her really well, and she's running for re-election. But during these last few months, she's been working really, really hard. I think more than just her own constituents, but for all of us here in Central Florida on all of the issues that affected everybody with this pandemic. So it gives me huge pleasure to be able to introduce Anna to fire us all up before this August 18th primary and hear a little bit of excitement and energy from our dear friend, Anna Escamani, House District 47.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. It's always great to be with Ruth's List. I want to give a special shout out to all of our primary candidates that have races coming up. And I certainly hope that folks have been helping to make phone calls, knock on people's cell phones. We can't knock on doors right now, and do whatever we can to support our endorsed candidates and make sure we lift them up to that finish line this August. So much love and respect to all of our endorsed candidates, and it's always an honor to be with so many fierce women and those who support women. And so again, my name is Anna V. Escamani, zooming to you from my home here in Thornton Park in District 47. It has been a hell of a year, y'all. 2020 is unprecedented. And from just the general chaos coming from the White House, let alone with a global pandemic, it makes a point where each one of us are reminded of how we truly need to elect new leaders across this state and within our communities. I'm reminded of the notion of just how leadership rises in moments of uncertainty. And right now there's a lot of uncertainty out there, and it's grounded by what I have defined as three main crises. One is a healthcare crisis. And I know that, Florida never expanded Medicaid. Even today was announced that premiums for one of the Florida kid care programs would be increased. And time again, we see disparities along economic lines, along racial lines of who can actually see a doctor, who can get tested for COVID-19, who's going to survive COVID-19, all based on how much money you have and the color of your skin. And then this ties into, of course, an economic crisis. And I know there's many small business owners here. There are folks who have navigated Florida's broken unemployment system. But the reality is that we've always had an economic crisis in this state. we've always had a lack of affordable housing. We have a minimum wage that is poverty wages, that folks have had to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. My own mother worked at Kmart. That was her last job before she passed away to cancer. And I remember she kept in her wallet a list of her hourly wages. And that number barely went up. And that's been the reality for so many Floridians, is that they don't make enough money to save any penny for an emergency, let alone a pandemic. And now we see unemployment rates that have skyrocketed. We see small businesses having to shutter their doors. And despite the unemployment rate going slightly down in Florida this past month, we know that was partly grounded on the fact that we opened up the state way too early, leading to more positive cases, leading to more things closing and more folks being unemployed. Furloughs have turned into layoffs. And it's critically important that we elect elected officials who center the conversation on working class people and support efforts like increasing the minimum wage, support access to affordable housing, pushes back on the raiding of the trust funds within the legislature, and hold our governor accountable. And finally, this third crisis is the uprising for racial injustice and to amplify the voices of our Black, Indigenous, and people of color to ensure that we profess Black Lives Matter, not as performance, but really as an act of solidarity to push forward dramatic changes, both to our law enforcement officers and agencies, but also Florida's archaic sentencing reform laws. And many of us have lived this because we have navigated the criminal legal system. We might have a loved one who's faced incarceration. And candidly, as a state house representative, I have visited prisons across the state of Florida. And it is shocking, the condition of our state prisons, the overcrowdedness. Florida has 96,000 people who are incarcerated, many on nonviolent offenses, serving sentences that have destroyed their lives and their families, trapping individuals, predominantly those that have no money and those of color, in a cycle of poverty. And those three crises all come at the cusp of one of the most important elections in our nation's history. And a lot of attention goes to Washington for good reason. A lot of the attention is focused on the White House, but what makes Ruthless so important and what makes these moments so meaningful is that we are focused on our own backyard. We are focused on our local elections. And I tell folks all the time that when we love this country, when we care about the United States of America, then we will have the courage to look in our own backyard and say, we can do a lot better than this, which is why we have so many folks that are running in primaries. It's why we have so many first-time candidates, and it's why I'm always excited to join Ruthless, because you can see the energy, you can feel it, and it really does take a network of strong, passionate, and empathetic women to help one another make it to the next level, to make it to the finish line. And so with that, Susan, I'm happy to take any questions that folks might have, whether it's about the campaign trail or COVID-19. We have been suspending our own field activities since March, but I will say, we did an unscientific survey, but we surveyed constituents on different voter contact comfort levels. And it does seem like voters have a slight level of comfort towards no contact canvassing. So leaving literature at doors, but not talking to voters. I'm sure folks have already embarked on that and different tactics, during the pandemic, but I'm also happy to, talk about some of the tactics that we've done to ensure that folks will go out to vote this year, that folks are signing up for vote by mail, and would love to hear what other folks have going on in their communities as well. So Susan, I'll toss it to you for any questions folks have. And again, I thank you for the opportunity to share space and to celebrate all of our candidates.
If there's something that you think you particularly want to share, Anna, let us know from you. We have a couple more minutes for you. So if there's something you're doing that you think is particularly good, I'll just say that I was incredibly impressed the morning you had your virtual office opening. You had so many volunteers, and I felt like I was a day older than God, because I don't think there was anyone on that call who was over 30 years old. And I know you're just 30. So I think there's a secret sauce that you have for attracting young volunteers to be so engaged with your campaign.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we can talk about that for sure. I mean, so I think the notion of virtual events. So it's been, obviously all this is unprecedented. We don't have a lot of data to work off. We don't know how effective is a virtual house party, how effective is a no contact door knock, right? Because these are all uncharted waters and territory. So I think a lot of what all of us are doing is quite experimental. And the virtual office opening that Susan mentioned really was an ultimate decision made because we were hoping to open up our campaign office right after legislative session. And we started paying rent for it in March. We were super ready. And then of course, COVID-19 came to the state. So we kept delaying. And eventually I looked at my team and I said, all right, like we have to embrace the notion that things are not gonna be back to normal anytime soon, but we can't stop our campaign. We can't stop this movement. So let's take things virtually. And it was actually incredibly fun. We had only 3 folks in the room, counting myself. And then over 150 folks joined us through Zoom. And we were also able to feature Cecile Richards, former CEO of Planned Parenthood, alongside Amanda Littman, a Run for Something. And I think it's a reminder that, each one of us have our own personal networks of folks that can help amplify one another. And it would be very difficult for me to bring Cecile Richards, to Florida, but it was very easy for her to Zoom in for a few minutes. I really encourage our candidates to get creative about, who could I pull in from a different part of the country, a different part of my life, to elevate my personal story and to amplify, why you should vote for me, why you should donate to me. And that event, we actually raised about $7,000 just from hosting a virtual campaign office opening. And of course, because it's virtual, the cost to host is close to zero. So you don't have to worry about the overhead, right? So I definitely encourage our candidates to get creative. Virtual house parties is something that, we've newly embraced. So it is uncharted territory, like I said, but we developed basically a toolkit for our hosts to use to give them guidance on, what do you expect? What are the expectations and how would you facilitate a virtual house party? And then of course, we try to build a host committee just like you would do with an in-person event to help with those RSVPs, bring in new people, and then craft I would recommend about a 1-hour program that really centers on what defines you as a candidate, and of course, including a fundraising ask. And then on the notion of, and yes, I would be willing to share. Anyone who wants our virtual house party toolkit, just send me an email and we'll send it to you. I'll send you the edible version too, so you can customize it however you want. The last thing I'll add too is on the voter contact piece. So we're getting very creative on phone banking and text banking. And I do think things like phone banking that in the past, we're kind of seen as tier 2 to door knocking, have actually risen to be much more important, much more impactful. So I just encourage our candidates to, not take phone banking for granted, especially during the pandemic. I think more and more people actually appreciate the phone call these days than they did in the past. So I'll stop there. And again, if there are any other questions or thoughts, folks can contact me directly, Anna at annaforflorida.com. And just very grateful to share space with y'all and to help any way that I can.
Anna, thank you so much for taking time to be with us. We love having you, and we wish you the very best on your reelection. If you would put your email in the chat, that would be great. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
I can do that. Thank you.
You're a tough act to follow, but we have our kick-ass clerk of the court here, and I just love her. I met her with Marty Haney over coffee, and she made such an impression upon me. I am so grateful for Marty making that introduction. So I don't really want to take a long time, but she's our clerk of the court. She won her re-election because she had no opposition. Woohoo! And she was a former county commissioner for Orange County. And I'm just going to turn it over to Tiffany to just give us a few words of encouragement. Tiffany, you should know that we have 2 candidates on the call this evening, who will be speaking shortly after you, who are both facing primaries, Emily Bonilla and Myra Uribe. They are our two candidates on the call this evening with primary challenges.
Thank you.
Tiffany?
Thank you, Susan, and hello, everyone. And I must give a personal point of privilege to see, I see the Honorable Betty Castor on here. So for one of us young politicians, it's like seeing Betty on here. It's like, wow, it's kind of like, your big sister appearing amongst you. So hello, I am excited that I was reelected unopposed. It allows me to face some of the challenges that COVID-19 has placed on the court system. So I do want to encourage the two candidates. I see my county commissioners, Myra and Emily, good luck to you. I think what Anna just shared are great examples of how to reach voters during this very unprecedented time. It's, one great thing I think about women candidates is we know how to be creative. We know how to think outside the box. And so I encourage you, and I actually was sharing with a candidate who reached out to me that, how we used to have the traditional neighborhood tea? You can still have a neighborhood tea, but take your district map, see who lives in those neighborhoods and ask them to do a virtual neighborhood tea for you. And that's a way we can take traditional forms of campaigning to put it into this more virtual environment that we know no one wants to come to anybody's home right now and no one wants to host anything, but we can host online so they can meet and greet you. But I think Emily and Myra also have their own body of work they can speak to. So I wish you all the best in your efforts as you go out to ask your voters to re-elect you. So Susan, I don't know what else you want me to talk about, or I think I can tell you absentees are already out, so I encourage you to make sure you have an absentee ballot campaign. That is, I think that should be a primary committee that you have in addition to your outreach, because that's going to be one way voters are voting. Mine is sitting right here, on my table. And so I think this is a great way. Yes, right. And so to those who are running, if you don't have an absentee ballot campaign team or strategy, I encourage you to get one really fast because it's going to be imperative that you track these ballots that are sitting in folks on their dining room tables that they get turned in. So
that's actually a really great idea, Tiffany. Thank you for joining us. I know you put in a full day at the office and you zoomed home to zoom in with us, so we appreciate that. That's a really great point, and I would just like to say that we have a day of action planned with our newest board member, Shayla Asensio, for any of the candidates who want us to make calls. We've invited all of our Ruthless volunteers to do that. It's Saturday, August 8th that we'll be doing that. And one of the things we could do on that call is to include returning your vote by mail ballot. So it's something to think about. Candidates, we're happy to do that for you. I think that we've got a lot of energy, and let's get right to it. We've got a terrific lineup of candidates.
If I can share one thing, if you have
yes.
any interested, especially, I don't know, Ann, I think your office received this information. I am having an eviction forum Thursday via Zoom because we all know the governor's landlord moratorium is prepared to expire August 1st. So we are having a legal forum that will be discussing the eviction process, what tenants should expect, how to prepare and defend themselves. So hopefully if you can join us, I hope people can join us. And lastly, the clerks are also suffering from COVID and a loss of revenue, and many clerks across the state of Florida is having to furlough and lay off. And unfortunately, Orange County will have to close starting August 7th on Friday. So that will be announced tomorrow via media. My staff was notified today, but until the governor delivers some type of assistance to us, unfortunately, we've lost $60 million statewide, and there's no other way for us to respond to the budget deficit but to furlough. So I just want to unfortunately share that bad news.
Tiffany, would you please put the legal forum in the chat so that everybody has that information? That would be great.
And we've been doing it too, Tiffany, so thank you for your leadership on that.
Okay, thank you very much on that. Along with all of the evictions, I'm wondering if the homeless shelters are going to be lined up and ready to go too. With that cheerful thought, we're going to turn this over to our candidates. We have a lineup of 9 amazing candidates this evening, and we're doing a little bit different format. we've been breaking out into Zoom rooms, but I find that staying engaged on a Zoom call, sometimes people kind of peter out, and by the time the evening goes, not all the candidates have had people to present to. So we're going to have all of the candidates present, one right after another, and we can give our comments and feedback at the end. So I encourage you to make notes and make comments to yourself that you can share at the end. The order that we'll be going to this evening, just so our candidates know, we'll be hosting an alphabetical order by last name. Our two candidates that are facing primary challenges, Emily Bonilla for Orange County Commission District 5, followed by Myra Uribe for Orange County Commission District 3. Then I would like to introduce Joy Goff Marcel, who is running for re-election in House District 30. And everybody after that will be alphabetical by last name. I've got Lynn Dichter, Deborah Kaplan, Tamika Lyles, Deb Palalian, Christina Renteria, Nina Yoakum, and I see that Pasha Baker's on the call. So Pasha, you'll head up after Joy. Sorry, I didn't have your registration, but I see you're on the call. If there's any candidate that I missed, send me a note in the chat and we'll get going. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce for a 2-minute presentation on why she's running, Commissioner Emily Bonilla, my commissioner. Emily.
Hi, thank you so much. So I know a lot of you have already heard from me, but I'm just going to make this real quick. So I was first elected in 2016. I was an advocate against large development in my district. Since I've been a commissioner, I have fought for protecting our wetlands. I have fought for $20 million for additional funding for children's services. And I've been working with county commissioners across the nation to get $243 million for COVID-19 relief funds to Orange County. And that money is now being used for small business grants and financial assistance for individuals. I'd like to say I have worked with Anna Escamani's office and making sure people got their unemployment. Her office has been a great partner with us on that. I'm looking forward to my next term, continuing to work on smart growth, affordable housing, and diversifying our economy, which is going to be very important. But also with the pandemic that we have, making sure that we slow down the spread and we're able to help our economy recover and people recover. To what I'm saying, I just started this new title, our COVID-19 economy that we're gonna have after, well, I can't say after the pandemic's over because I really don't know when it'll ever be over. But I just want to spend the rest of my time saying that I really need donations in my campaign. As you can see, the lobbyists and developers, they're definitely not giving to me. So I depend on everyday people to donate to my campaign. And I will say right now that we really need your money because we are out of money and we still have about $30,000 to raise. So please donate to my campaign, emilybonilla.com/donate. I really need your donation. Anything that you can give will be definitely useful. And I know it's a tough time, but anything you can give, like I said, can help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I always tell people when they say, well, I don't really have much, I always say, well, how about 2020? Everybody can give 2020. So please give to Emily's campaign for her. Thank you so much. We wish you well in the primary. Next is Myra Uribe, County Commissioner, District 3. Whoop. Good evening, Myra. We're glad you're here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's so great to see so many incredible women and so many good faces. I miss everyone. My name is Myra Uribe. I am the current Orange County Commissioner for District 3, and I'm running for re-election. I won my election in a special election 2 years ago, and I am now running for a full term. Sadly, the commissioner that quit on the job because he wanted to run for mayor is now back because he wants to have that power. But in the last 2 years, we have worked so hard. I am proud to say, first time ever, I have 3 cities in my municipality. I have the mayor of Orlando, Buddy Dyer, the mayor of Belle Isle, who is Nick Foraker, the mayor of Edgewood, who is John Dallas, who have all endorsed me. But more than that, I also have former Mayor Glenda Hood and former County Mayor Linda Chapin. And I just received the endorsement of current County Mayor Jerry Demings. This race has been about going door to door. We talk about how COVID has affected us. We're the only county candidate that actually qualified by petition. And that's because we were out knocking on doors in January, door to door, talking to folks. So when COVID hit, we were about 75% to goal. And we're really excited to not have had to pay that $3,500 fee. And we were able to meet voters. This election has meant so much to me. I'm born and raised in this district, and I'm also a mother of two, raising my two children in this community. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. And I'm also a small business owner. My husband and I have a construction company. So I firmly believe that you can have good government, smart economic growth, and you can have service to your folks that live in your community. In the short time that I've been in office, we started a Title I reading program for children who were disadvantaged and were falling behind. We wanted to make sure that during the summer, we could fill that gap. Now, when I talk about the election process, COVID has changed everything. We have done 5 reusable face mask giveaways. We've done 5 food pantry giveaways, and we're still working. And now we're going to have a drive up back to school event because folks are in need. I'm proud to have worked hard on getting funding for individual and families and businesses and making sure that information was communicated. Many heard in Orange County, the Spanish language is not being given out and the information and testing sites were not offered. We worked very hard to get this to happen, and I'm proud to say that our press conferences are now in English and Spanish, and also testing sites have been made convenient so that folks could walk up. But I'm honored to get this position. We have been very gracious to have so many wonderful people endorse us, including the AFL-CIO. We're going to continue working hard. We've done contactless canvassing. We are on our 2nd round of going to doors, which means we've already hit 70,000 doors in our district and are over halfway through our 2nd. And we're doing targeted mailers. And I got to tell you, the best mailer I've had is my Women's Peace mailer, which has gotten positive feedback. But this is about community. This is about one-on-one. This is about having a transparent government that's going to continue to serve the community that we have here. And it is my honor. I also ask you, please consider contributing to our campaign. We're almost at our goal. VoteUReeby.com. Also, please vote in the primary August 18th. If I acquire 50% plus 1, I can win. And my goal is to help electing other women down the ballot in November. Thank you all for your time. I wish you all the best, continued success, and so proud to be a part of these amazing women. Myra Uribe, Orange County Commissioner, District 3, VoteUReeby.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Myra. We wish you well in your primary challenge, August 18th. It's my pleasure now to introduce Joy Goff Marcel. She was elected in, I want to say 2018. Is that right, Joy? And yes. She is running for her re-election now in Florida House District 30. Thank you so much for being with us this night. I turn it over to you.
Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Joy Goff Marcel, representing Florida House District 30, which is parts of Orange and Seminole County. I have the unique challenge of having to deal with both Orange and Seminole County Supervisor of Elections, but I have great support in the Orange County Democrats and the Seminole County SemDems. So I'm very happy about that. I'm running for re-election because our legislature is completely out of balance, and I got to see it firsthand for the last 2 years. I have been making all my votes for the environment, for the people. I have the support, I have the endorsement of the Sierra Club, and just got the endorsement of the Florida Conservation Voters. Very proud to have that. And I also have all the endorsements of the unions, LIUNA, SEIU, AFL-CIO. I stand with all the workers of America, the essential workers that have been struggling, and my opponent is doing the opposite of what we are trying to do. And he has a proven record. He has a 4-year record showing how he votes. So it's very easy for someone to look us up and see our voting records and see that I am the one who is voting for the people and for women I have stood up on all the votes for women. I'm proud to be on Emily's list and Ruth's list. I have many people in the community that are supporting me. So happy to see that Betty Castor is on the call. She's endorsing me, and so is her daughter. I just got Karen Castor Dental's endorsement as well. And also proud to have the Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy has informed me that she will be endorsing me. So I'm very proud of all the support and looking forward to figuring out how we're going to go back there, because that's a big challenge too. I'm hoping we can somehow figure out how to do a lot of things virtually, because it's not a safe building. As Representative Askamani knows, we're crowded in elevators like cows in a big old truck or something. We're all in there, stuffed in there, and it's not a safe building, especially right now. I would love to have your support. You can go to my website, joyforflorida.com. That's JOYFORFL.com. I need contributions. I have my opponent outraised me 6 to 7 to 1 last time, and I need to raise a lot more money because now I'm not able to knock on doors, but I have a phone bank on Sundays from 3 to 5. We call it Spread Joy Sundays, and I would love to have your participation in that. Any way you can help, we have plenty of volunteer opportunities. So thank you, and vote to keep joy in the house. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Joy. We wish you well with your campaign, and we'll be here to phone bank for you if you'd like us to do that on August 8th. I'll follow up with you.
Absolutely.
All of the other candidates. I'd like to now go to all of our new candidates who are running for the very first time. We'll do it in alphabetical order, and I see joining us this evening is Pasha Baker, who's running in House District 28, which is in Seminole County, covers, I think, some of the Sanford area. So Pasha,
That's right.
if you're ready, you have your 2 minutes to tell us about yourself and your campaign and why you're running. Thank you.
All right. Well, one, thank you so much to Ruthless again for all your support on this campaign and all the support on my past campaign, just for elected women and just for being you all. Second, it is a great honor to have my former president of University of South Florida, and as well as my education commissioner, Miss Betty Castor, on this phone call. So somebody of great inspiration. I am the daughter of a teacher, and my father was a city bus driver. So definitely someone that cares about education and wants to see the best for our public education. I am an example of that public education system. So I have great concern coming to the legislature this year, and it's one of my top priorities. My first priority, first and foremost, is going to be healthcare. We are in the middle of a health epidemic and have been some time. Today, with children's Medicaid as well, the cost has risen, not gone down in a pandemic, but the cost has actually risen. My father that I just spoke of died of stage 4 bone cancer. That means a piece of his bone actually broke off every day, and stage 4 lung cancer. I have 2 family members that have just passed of COVID-19. We know that is a virus that affects more people of color than anybody, and especially Latinos, which has a rising population here in the city of Sanford and throughout Seminole County. Because of their generational housing, where it can easily spread to each person, we are having in both hospitals in my district, in the city of Sanford and Oviedo, have now overflowed. That means there are no more patients being admitted. And the patients that they do have, they are putting people in the hallways because of COVID-19 at capacity. So my first thing to do as a person of color, as a woman, is to protect healthcare at all costs. And as a woman, of course, I'm going to protect female healthcare as well. I want to make sure that there are more women in because our rights keep being attacked on our reproductive rights. So healthcare is going to be foremost. The second is education. Whereas the cost of education has risen in secondary education above what anybody could pay, and making it impossible for people to get a college education. So making it easier for AA, making it easier for people to get a AA degree actually in high school. And making sure we actually do what we say we're going to do. Public education, your tax dollars needs to go to public education. And that's what we said we're going to do, and that's what should be done. Once again, my name is Pasha Baker. I'm running for House District 28. I thank you for all of your support and appreciate your support on this campaign again. We have outraised my opponent who ran last time. That's something that I'm very proud of. I'm actually also very proud of all of the endorsements that our campaign has gotten, and all the endorsements that we are rolling out this week from a national level, from a state level, and from a community local level from every one of your neighbors. And so I appreciate all of the support and love, and keep praying for us, and y'all be safe and y'all be blessed. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Pasha. We're glad that you were with us this evening. We wish you well in your race, August 18th.
Thank you.
And now I hope I'm not putting our trailblazer on the spot, but Honorable Betty Castor, I was hoping that you might be able to speak for us on behalf of your daughter, Karen, who's running for School Board District 6. Can you do that for us this evening? Since we don't have Karen, we've got the next best thing and Mom.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate you giving me 2 minutes to speak on Karen's behalf. And Pasha, thank you for being a good bull. Karen, as many of you know, is running for re-election to the Orange County School Board. She served a 2-year term and is now running for a 4-year term. As you know, I'm very proud of Karen. She previously was a member of the legislature and served in the seat in which that Joy holds at this time. Karen has been working hard in the last 2 years to represent teachers, students first, teachers, parents, and right now she is working very hard to try to convince the Orange County School District and the administration and the State Commissioner of Education that safety should be the primary consideration of students and their families who are attending our public schools. She has been a very strong advocate for teachers and for raising teacher salaries, which of course is critical to so many of you and the races in which you find yourselves at this time. This is indeed a very unusual period for us, and I think what all of us have to do to work together is to make sure that we return those ballots, as Laurie is telling, vote by mail, vote early, get those ballots in. And Ruth's List has such a great team of women. Karen is among a premier group, and we just all have to work together. And I'm delighted to say cheers to all of you, and to you, Susan, for helping to organize tonight's forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. We all stand on your shoulders, Betty. I think you know that here in Florida, for sure. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to call upon Lynn Moira Dichter, who is running for tax collector in Seminole County. And this race has certainly gotten a lot of attention. Yeah. So I'm going to let Lynn tell her own story, and it's my pleasure to present you. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you, Susan. And I agree with you that I have been so impressed by the women who have come before me. This is my first run for office, and we stand on their shoulders is an important concept to my campaign, with Betty Castor being on this call and with Marty Haney being on the call. For me and my family, this is state and local royalty when it comes to local females running for office and local politics. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lynn Moira Dichter. For the last 36 years, I was observing local and state politics as a news reporter and a talk show host, a pundit, if you will, observing Central Florida politics from a bird's eye view. And I could not stand by any longer and watch it happen in Seminole County, where I have been a resident for more than 36 years. My children were raised here, and I have lived in various parts of the county. And it was so frustrating to watch in the case of my race, the Seminole County tax collector for the last couple of decades be run by men who were feathering their own nest and giving money to their family and friends. I threw my hat in the ring almost 10 months ago, running against a very flawed candidate, the former incumbent, who has since withdrawn from the race because he has been arrested, indicted, and he resigned in disgrace. This is what tax collectors, that's all that we know in Seminole County. There's always been some kind of shenanigans in Seminole County. And from the beginning, I have said that Seminole County deserves better. I no longer am running against Greenberg. I am now running to bring transparency and ethics and accessibility and a good old dose of common sense back to the office of Seminole County, to the tax collector's office. I would be the first woman in the history of Seminole County to have this job. I would be the first Democrat in more than 50 years to hold the job of Seminole County tax collector. And so many of the things are firsts for me. I was the first woman in my family to ever graduate from college. And we were, also the first to qualify in a pandemic. I mean, it was my first experience in politics and my first candidacy. I now had a complete and total shelter-in-place shutdown. But we also got very lucky because there's been a groundswell of support for our candidacy. We qualified by petition in a pandemic, which was so impressive to me that people have been coming out of the woodwork to help our campaign. My goals to bring accessibility and good customer service back to the office of the Seminole County tax collector, but more importantly, cost efficiency, because the budget has been completely destroyed in the last 3 decades by giving personal money and lucrative contracts to family and friends. So maintaining and encouraging a well-trained employee group, that of course is super important. But the number one question people always ask me is, what does a tax collector do? At which point I describe that I am just what it says in the name, the collector of taxes. And I collect it in, let's call it a bucket, and I send it to the county commission if you're paying your property taxes, or if you're paying your driver's license fee, or getting the tag for your the back of your vehicle. I take it and put it in a different bucket, if you will, and send it to the DMV in Tallahassee. Same thing for hunting and fishing licenses and everything that falls under the umbrella of the county tax collector. But the other question that they always ask is, can you reduce my taxes, Lynn? And at first I thought no, but the actual answer is yes. I can absolutely impact the taxes of the hardworking families and small business owners of Seminole County by running a tight budget. Because by law, every dollar in excess fees that I have at the end of the year gets turned over to the county commission in Seminole County that they can use to reduce your property taxes or enhance your services. So it has been a wild ride to run for Seminole County tax collector in a pandemic, but I have a daily Facebook Live couch chat that Susan mentioned to the early birds who were on the call. At 4:30 every day, we do a live episode and have been doing it Monday through Sunday, rain or shine, for 118 days in a row. We started back in March.
And time to wrap up, Lynn. I love you, but time to wrap up.
Right. I always end with 3 things. 1, stay safe, and that means wear a mask. 2, stay home if you can and observe social distance. But the most important thing is wash your hands and visit Moira2020.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We had an addition to our roster this evening. So in following alphabetical order, it's a candidate I'm not familiar with, but she's here to tell us all about herself this evening. Stephanie Dukes is running for Florida House District 32. So I'd like to present to you for the first time, Stephanie Dukes.
Hello, ladies. Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity to get to know you and for you to get to know me. I am running from House District 32, which is South Lake County, which goes from Leesburg down to the Polk County line. I am originally from Polk County, Mulberry, Florida. I attended the University of South Florida, where I received an AA degree, and went on to receive my bachelor's from Florida State University. I am running for this office because I am a firm believer that being a representative means just that, being a representative of the people. And the people of Lake County, we do what we call coffee and conversation. And our concerns are affordable housing, accessibility and access to quality health care. I am committed to strengthening our education system, our infrastructure, and of course, protecting our environment as we have the green swamp is within my district, and supporting criminal justice and social justice reform and providing for economic employment, particularly as women during this time, talking about supporting small business development as well as maintaining for us. All of these concerns are the bedrock of my campaign. I thank you for your time. I look for your support. And most of all, let's go. Let's celebrate 100 years. If you see my sign here, I have the League of Women Voters where we're celebrating 100 years. And the 2020 down to the bottom of my sign is in commemoration of that. In the first zero, I have the number 1920, the second zero, 100 years. Thank you. I am proud to be here with the women of like mind.
Great. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you well in your campaign. And we're glad that you were able to present to all of us tonight to introduce us to you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure now to introduce Deborah Kaplan. She's running for House District 31. Deborah?
Myself
Oh,
here. Good evening, everybody. Common Sense Kaplan's in the house. I do have a primary. I'm hoping to win it. I ran in 2018. I didn't do bad, but I didn't take out Jennifer Sullivan, but she dropped out and now it's an open seat. I have worked very hard to qualify for the ballot. In fact, I'm the only candidate in the State House 31 seat race that qualified by petition. We started last July and all the way to March, we got 90% of the petitions signed. And I didn't just go to Democrat houses, I went to independents as well as Republicans, and I got those signed. The last 10% was done by mail. So we qualified and didn't have to pay the fee. I'm running on income inequality. And a lot of the things that Anna said, a lot of the things that Joyce said are things that I'm interested in. I want to make sure that the people of the 31st district, which includes part of Lake and part of Northwest Orange County, get a fair shake. In the past, it's only been what the lobbyists could bring to the table for their friends. What we need is more affordable housing. We need income equality. Raising the minimum wage here to $15 an hour will go a long way to help people be able to afford a good place to live. And also make sure that we expand Medicaid, because in Florida, 269,000 people could have lived if they had gotten the health care that they deserve. And it pains me to hear that they're going to raise the funds of the charges for the Medicaid for the children, because these families can't afford much more. A lot of them have been laid off and they haven't gotten a penny yet from the state of Florida on the income for the benefits that should have come to them through unemployment. We have to do a lot in Tallahassee. One of the first things I want to accomplish is a bill that I would like to claw back publicly funded properties that were given to 40% of those charter schools that failed. Right now, as it is, there's no mechanism in the state of Florida to claw back those buildings. Some of them have been resold at a profit to the for-profit schools that have failed. It's a boondoggle and we need to stop it. That property, the money that it would bring would help the school districts and go a long way. Right now, the public schools are forced to share the money for construction with the private schools, the charter schools. I also want to have a mechanism that would punish these charter schools when they discriminate against LGBT students as well as disabled students. So that's unconscionable that they treat them like that.
Deborah, can you wrap up, please?
Yes. So I will say I could use some funding. So if you go to www.commonsensecaplan.com, on the top right-hand side is a menu. It takes you to my Act Blue. And please support us, and we hope to win the primary on August 18th.
Thank you very much. All the best to you with your campaign. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you Tamika Lyles, House District 43 candidate. Tamika, we met at our very last in-person event in February, so it's time now to hear what you can tell us now in our Zoom call this evening. Thanks so much, Tamika. You're on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me back. Again, my name is Tamika Lyles, and I'm a candidate for State House District 43. As a mother, a veteran, an educator, and union member, mediator, small business owner, leader, and advocate in this community and throughout the entire state of Florida, state representative will simply be an extension of my contribution to this district and to this state. My diverse background solidifies a voice on the issues that matter most to our communities, such as healthcare, education, affordable housing, resources to our small businesses, and protecting our environment and waterways. That's just to name a few. The time is now to elect someone of this district and of our community that has the values that will be dear to us even as they stand on the House floor in Tallahassee. So I am seeking your support for my primary and my general, because there will not be an outside election outside of August 18th for me. That will decide my election. So I'm asking for your support in this run. We need as much help as we can get so that we can ensure that all voices are represented in Tallahassee. Again, my name is Tamika Lyles, and I'm running for State Rep, District 43, and I look forward to representing you all.
Thank you very much, Tamika. We wish you all the best with your race this August 18th. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Deborah Pulalian, who is running for Supervisor of Elections in Seminole County. Deborah?
Hello. It's very nice to be with everyone. I just want to point out that you have 3 constitutional officers on the call running in Seminole County. And you know what Seminole County really needs right now is a wave of integrity to rush across the whole county. It's a mess. Moira is running against someone with a awful history. The person I'm running against was actually hired by him as his chief investigations officer in 2017. And part of his role was to arm people who worked at the tax collector's office so they could open carry their weapons while on the job. So, you know, it's an interesting situation. We find ourselves against a big wall of people who think they can stay in power. And we're here to tell them they can't, that we're going to give them a real challenge. I'm a data analyst. I work at the Institute of Internal Auditors. So I have a very analytical side, but what makes me different is I also have a master's degree in mass communication, and most of my career was writing and communicating with people. So I just want to ask you to look at my website. My website is me right now. My website gives better more accessible voting information than you can get at the Supervisor of Elections website for Seminole County, because I was frustrated because I couldn't find things. I'm also making sure I have everything in Spanish. I have a great team that's helping me do that. And as soon as we had that wonderful ruling on Amendment 4 that got clawed back, I had a special forum to discuss steps moving forward to vote. So I am showing now that I am ready, willing, and able to be a supervisor of elections that focuses on letting people vote. And I greatly appreciate your support. Fundraising is something that we all have to address now. I'm looking at my budget and I'm gonna need some help to reach people. I know I have the right message. I know I'm the right person. I just need to let people know it. So thank you again, Deborah Pulalian, Supervisor of Elections, Seminole County.
Thank you very much, Deborah. is now yet another constitutional officer. We've had Lynn, we've had Deborah, and now we have Christina Renteria, who is running for clerk of the court / controller for Seminole County. Christina, are you ready? I thought I saw her.
Can you hear me?
Christina?
Can you
There
hear
she
me?
is.
Whoops, sorry. Yes, I am a first-time candidate, and I have no primary. My name is Christina Renteria, and I'm running for Seminole County Clerk of Court and Controller. You know, I've been in Florida 35 years. I've been a CPA for 25 years. And as a financial professional, you know, I'm running to make sure that your taxpayer money is well spent. And I also want to make sure that, especially now with COVID-19, that we have a balanced budget. I also, you know, want to make sure that the residents in Seminole County have equal access to the justice system. And that includes, you know, creating a self-help legal center, you know, especially to help women and help people now with the eviction process. You know, I also think that the customer service has to be focused on the taxpayer, and that includes the, you know, translation of the website or the clerk's website into Spanish. I heard Myra said before that, yeah, there is still a lack of translation, and I agree. I mean, in Seminole County, there's absolutely, I mean, as far as the clerk services, no translation into Spanish at all whatsoever. So anyway, you know, if you need more information about me, you can go to my website. It's www.christinaforseminole.com. And we're starting conversations with Christina on Sundays at 3 o'clock. You know, you can either log in by going to my Facebook page, or you can go to my website and RSVP to the event that will take you directly into the, you know, into the Zoom meeting. So I, you know, I appreciate your, you know, your support, and, you know, thank you for having me here, Susan.
Thank you, Christina, for being with us this evening. We wish you well in your race.
All right,
And
thank
now
you.
it gives me my pleasure, I believe it's our last candidate for the evening, who happens to be running in the district that I get to vote for. Nina Yoakum for House District 50. Nina, it's your turn. Thank you for being so patient.
Well, let's see. Thank you for having me. And my name ends in Y. So I've learned to be very patient since I got married about 27 years ago. And before that, my name ended in W. So I was still pretty patient. But I want to say how wonderful it was to hear from every candidate. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Everyone spoke so eloquently. And I learned about all of you. I wish I could all of you. But I represent Orange County, part of Orange County, the southeastern part, and I represent Brevard County. I represent Titusville, Mims, and Scottmore. I'm running for House Representative 50. And I just want to say, before I get into more, that I love this group because we support women, and I think that's so, it needs to be done now more than ever. And we support Democrats. And with who we have in the White House, I think we need to really flip some seats right now so we can accomplish things when Joe Biden is elected as our president. So my format is basically healthcare, but it's going to be undergoing a lot of changes because of COVID. As some people have pointed out. And so as much healthcare as we can possibly get to everyone is what I'll be working on. And I'm sure some new ideas will be proposed when we get down to the House, and I'm gonna act as if it's gonna be we, and we'll do that together, and we'll get some good healthcare for everybody, because everybody is gonna need it, and kid care as well. And then my other one was the environment, and people down in Brevard County, as well as Orange County, but the environment everyone is very concerned about, with the green algae everywhere and the red tide. And So we're going to work on the environment and get that cleaned up and start doing things to get that in good shape. I think I typed my contact information on the website above, but I didn't type much because my keypad's not working very well. So I'm going to say, be sure and go to www.ninaforflorida.com. And I too need all the support I can get. Of course, we probably all do, but and volunteers would be wonderful. I could use volunteers definitely, so that would be great. And but the other thing that I went to run for was seriously common sense gun legislation, and I did get picked as one of the people that Moms Demand Action. They don't call it endorsed, but I can't think of the word right now. Deborah Kaplan could probably help me out, but we got that. And so I felt really good about that. And a Hispanic group, Alianza for Progress, endorsed me. And I'm really happy about that because I have a very large Hispanic population over here. It's about 25%. So an LGBTA endorsed me both in Brevard and in Orange County, which is the Rainbow Democrats. So I'm happy about that. And I got some school board members that have endorsed me. So that made me happy. And I'm probably running out of time, I would assume, but it's so nice to be here and get to know you all. And again, it's www.ninaforflorida.com. And I'd love you to check out my website. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nina. We're happy that you were with us this evening. We wish you well with your campaign.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe we can flip that seat from red to blue. That would be great. Well, this has been a great evening, and we've had a lot of people, and many of you have stayed to the very end to support all of our candidates and give them your attention. So I appreciate all of your time and your commitment. I'd like to just say a couple things in closing. We have an amazing roster of candidates running this evening. Clearly, many of them, most of them, all of them need resources. They need volunteers and they need money. If you like what you heard, go to their websites and donate. We could all donate tonight when we sign off of the call. Wouldn't that be a great thank you to each of them for taking time to be with us tonight? Give whatever you can and please support their campaigns.
Susan, yeah, I don't want you to close up our call without giving people who attended and are not candidates a chance to give some constructive feedback.
Oh,
that's a very important part of our event.
Let me just give one other little piece, Deidre, and then we will, yes, we are going to do that. I just didn't want to lose an opportunity for people to sign off. We will be doing phone baking on August 8th. If you'd like to volunteer, bring a friend to volunteer, make calls for any of your favorite candidates this evening. I'll put my email in the chat. Just send me a note that you want to volunteer. And now that we've heard from everyone, as Deidre has pointed out, we do our speed dating. It's a two-way street though. You present to us and we give you some feedback. So this is an opportunity now for all of our participants who have been listening so patiently to everyone to give some feedback, some constructive feedback, maybe even some tough love to the candidates who spoke to us this evening. All you need to do is raise your hand in the chat and you'll have an opportunity to speak. Looks like we've got Janice has her hand up and Patricia. So Janice.
Just real quickly, I was very impressed with Pasha, with Stephanie Dukes, and with Deborah Palalian. One of the comments I made at our last speed date was if we didn't know the candidate, it was hard to know how to look up their website or who they were. And so one of the suggestions I had to a few of the groups was to get a good either wallpaper, which you can copy your sign, take a picture of your sign and then use it as a permanent wallpaper, or you can have signs behind you. A number of people had signs, they were too big, or you sat right in front of them. If you take a look at what Stephanie Dukes has, and Stephanie, yours was unbelievable. The other two were good, but Stephanie should probably go on the main screen right now so everyone can see it.
And Joy has a good one too. Joy Goff.
Okay, well, you know,
Yeah,
I started
those
writing
are
it
good.
down with Stephanie, Pasha, and Deborah, but there probably were others before that, yeah. So thank you, just a comment. Zoom is our best way of marketing right now, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
I
very
appreciate
much.
There it is. There it is.
Okay, Patricia, you had a comment for us.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much. And all the candidates did a wonderful job. I'm excited about you all running for this this time around. Some of you all were first-time candidates. I liked everybody's there. I just want to share with Stephanie Lyles. You had a great tie-in with your background, what you stand for. I love what you said, and you tied in really good. I want to suggest to you, Stephanie, that you read that, learn it, stand in the mirror, say it over and over again, practice with your people, because what you said was sincere. I felt it, but I would want to see you the next time not read it, but say it from the heart. And the way to do that, Stephanie, is to all day long walk through the house and say it until it gets in your spirit and becomes a part of you. Everyone did really good. Joy, just one final comment. I think it was Joy. I know this is your second time running, Joy, but I did not hear your platform. I did not hear what you stood for while you were in the seat, and I did not hear what you would stand for in the next time when elected. But a good job is not an easy thing to do for the first time around. Everybody did good. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
One more thing, Lyles, spell your name. That may help, because I wasn't sure if it was L-I-L-E-S or L-Y-L-E-S. And that may help people to remember Lyles, L-Y-L-E-S. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I do.
Oh, Marty.
Before you say anything, just 1 second. I remember Patricia, when she was running, she said Rumpf, not Trump. Trump. It was very memorable. Sorry.
Yes.
I have to get that in, Marty. I apologize. Okay.
That's okay. I just want to echo what was said earlier, that I think everybody should have their contact information on a banner across the bottom or something, so that we could see it, know how to spell it, and not have to worry about going back into chat. It'd be an easy thing for everybody to do, not to have a huge thing, but to have everybody have their website information across the bottom, and a bumper sticker type size thing to make it easy for us to find you and give you money. I'm just delighted with this group of candidates, and I wish you all well. I wish I could vote for everybody.
Thank you so much, Marty. There's some other comments. I have one that I'd like to share. I think that some of you still, when you do your 2-minute pitch, you're not fully prepared to get right into the heart of it. And I think Marty and Janice and some of the other comments have spoken to that. Patricia said that too. You need to capitalize on that, getting the attention right away as quickly as you can in a high energy way. Be excited, be happy. You want us to support you. Your smiles are amazing, so don't be chintzy with them. Give them to us, but get to the heart of why you're running and who you are. And I think that it was Patricia that said, practice in front of a mirror. Absolutely, practice in front of a mirror, and it'll be your best friend.
May I say something, Susan?
Yes, of course.
I apologize for being a little bit late, so I missed a few of you. I'm Jennifer Anderson. I was struck by Deborah Palalian, and I'll tell you why. Deborah, you and I have been together since you jumped in, when you'd spend a whole minute telling people how to pronounce your name. Tonight, you were so impressive. You jumped in and you said, Seminole has, I forget what you said exactly, integrity problem.
An integrity problem.
You're like, we need to fix this, and I'm here to fix it. And I was ready. I felt like you were Pied Piper. I was ready to run after, go with you wherever you were going. But you embraced it. You were you looked like you were jumping out to talk to all of us. You were so excited to be here tonight and to tell us why we should vote for you if we could. And if we can't, we should send you money. I was just very impressed. And the reason I say that is to the other candidates that maybe don't have that level of enthusiasm or confidence in what they're saying, is she's developed this by practicing and practicing and practicing. And that's exactly how you get to be comfortable in your own skin as you're saying it. So I'd love to see some of that enthusiasm from all the other candidates. And a lot of you have it. I would love all of you. I ditto what Marty said. What a great group of candidates. But just a little more smile and enthusiasm, I think, would be helpful, even though we're all exhausted.
Jennifer, thank you for those words. I see that Shayla Asencios has raised her hand. Shayla, you have a comment for us?
Well, first off, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to talk about what you want to do to change this world. I know there's a lot and lots of work to do, and there's so many reasons to be disappointed and disenchanted with the way things are, but that you keep your eye on how you can change it is what matters. I want to give a shout out to Pasha Baker. And what I loved about what you said, Pasha, is that you painted a picture of the people and the situations that that we're trying to do all this work for, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes when you work in campaigns, we talk about issues and we can talk about them all day, but what we forget to understand is what that looks like for the person being oppressed or the person who has no access to certain resources, right? And when you talked about hospitals, my day job, and I'm involved with Ruthless in my own time, but my day job is to work for a congressional office. And in it, everything's been smooth, but once COVID hit, you know, the calls of people who aren't employed, people who are living in uncertainty and are fixated on a $1,200 check from Trump that they still haven't received because there's people who haven't received it yet. Right. And the fact that their whole lives and their whole livelihood depend because they're scraping for things, right? And then we have people stuck in hospitals. I have had personally, on a personal level, I've had to take like my own mental health break because it's been very sad to see a whole population of people hurting so bad. But when we talk about issues, we have to talk about the stories of real people. You know, that person without health care. When you talked about our hospitals, Pasha, I knew exactly what you were talking about because I hear this every day and it hurts my heart. I am not going through the same experiences, but I hear people in the desperation in their voice. And I love the way that you painted that picture. And sometimes when we're giving our remarks and we're campaigning, we have to paint the pictures of those real people because that's who we're doing all of this for. And I think it helps touch other people's hearts because being that we're progressive women in the game, we have to be able to paint the picture of people who are going through things that maybe some other person can't relate to, but can totally empathize with. Does that make sense? So really well. I commend all the ladies out here today. And I thank you for taking leadership and realizing that maybe there's holes to fill in this society and through your leadership, you can get there, right? So we're here to support you and nothing. Thank you. You guys are inspiring and it's great to have that inspiration right now at 7 p.m. So thank you.
So Susan, I have not been able to figure out how to raise my hand on this thing, but if I could just have a minute. Okay.
You can, as the founder of this group, take it away, Deirdre.
I know, just do that.
So I think it has been so exciting continually to see everybody up their game and improve their speech with every time they have a chance to come before us. And a lot of the highlights have been talked about already. I love the wave of integrity that is needed in Seminole. And it's the year of the woman, as Stephanie Dukes pointed out. I thought Patricia's point about her background was awesome because it is the year of the woman. But I wanted to call out Myra Uribe, who I thought did a really excellent job with her presentation because she answered the question right away by introducing herself. I'm a mother, I'm a professional, my children are in the public schools. And, so she established her credibility. And then she talked about, now she has the advantage, she's an incumbent, but she talked about very specific accomplishments that she's made during her 2 years in office. And really made the case, talking about walk-up COVID testing and providing English and Spanish at different offices. Yes. she had a whole group of very specific, you know, I
Out of
think
one
4 or
reading.
5 bullet points that some things that had been accomplished during her tenure, and that she had a lot of ideas she wanted to accomplish. So where I'm going with this is, I think it's important. It's great to talk about your values. It's, you know, it's great to talk about who you are, but people are looking for some specific ideas, and you have to put them together very carefully, because it's very easy to put some people on one side of the fence, some side of the other. So you want to come up with things like walk-up COVID testing that everybody can get behind. So I just want to throw that out. I thought Myra did a particularly good job, and she ended up with a very strong close to the sale. My name is Myra Uribe. This is my website. Please give me money. Please vote for me. Blah, 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 blah. Now, so I just thought that was a really concise, strong, enthusiastic stump speech. She smiled a lot. There are a few of you on the call tonight that you're stingy with your smiles. Don't be. People like a smile and warmth and enthusiasm. So do it in front of the mirror, like Patricia said. Thanks for listening.
Yep, all good points, Deidre. Does anybody else have their hands up?
Tamika.
Tamika does. Tamika?
Hey guys, I just want to say this last thing. I want to invite everyone to my, well, it's not mine by myself, but I am a guest speaker for National iRevolution on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And they're doing a huge ordeal. Actually, Anna Escamani is also a guest as well as myself and 2 other candidates. But I would love to have everyone on there. We're trying to do something really, really big, as this is the last call that they will have prior to my election on August 18th. So we want to make sure that we get all of our progressives on this call so that we can have a huge push for our progressive candidates that are like myself, who may be their August election may be the deciding factor of their election wholeheartedly.
Tamika, can you tell us how to connect with that?
They have not sent out, I have the flyer on my social media. It's on my Facebook page. If you just go under Tamika Lyles, it's there on my campaign page. It is on my Instagram, and it is on my Twitter. Okay. I know that they're going to upload a call on National iRevolution site, where individuals who cannot log on via the internet can also call in for that, but they have not uploaded it yet. So
we'll pull it down from your social media and share it with everyone through Ruth's List Central Florida.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's a little bit past our hour, so we went over our time a little bit, but we had some amazing women with us this evening. And I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for donating to our candidates. Thank you for volunteering to work for them. We need to stay in this to make sure they win in August and then carry on to victory in November. This is probably, we all hear it all the time, but it's the most important election. So when you feel a little bit tired, have another cup of coffee, put your feet up for 5 minutes, and then get right back to it. Join us on August 8th for phone banking. When you end the call this evening, if you like what you heard, give to one of those candidates, give to as many as you can, and get your vote by mail ballots out and get them completed and sent back in. Deirdre, Jennifer, Lori, any other messages before we close out? Shayla?
Thank you, Susan. Wonderful, wonderful meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Susan. You make this happen.
Everyone, thank you, Susan.
Susan,
Thank you,
Susan's bomb.
Susan. Thank you.
You all excite me and energize me. I have such great mentors in Deirdre and wonderful women who welcomed me to this community, and Lori and Jennifer. And I'm just so excited and so energized by all of you who have the courage to run, to represent us, and to do good work and to make our lives better. So we just want you to win. Thank you very
Taste the
much.
change. Away we go.
Way to
Yes.
go.
Let's do it, Lee.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oops, I forgot to. Hello. Are we the last two standing?
I don't know. Deborah Kaplan's still
okay.
there.
I'm trying to leave.
I'm so bad at this too. I'm really the
Down
okay.
in the bottom corner, it should say leave meeting, a red
There
button.
we go. Bye, Susan. You did a terrific job.
Oh, well, I think
you.
everybody did a terrific job. It's a
Deborah,
team
great
effort.
job. Break a leg, everybody.
Oh, there's Adrian.
Bye,
Thank you.
Adrian. There she is. Say hi to that cute husband of yours. Bye.
Bye. I guess we're it. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.